everyone. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad that we are here back again for this new episode. My name is Harriet Wangu and welcome to Modeling Wellness podcast. I'm so happy to be here and so glad to be here. And actually I'm shooting this video to a day after my birthday, so I'm quite excited about it. And it has been quite a very good journey. I'm just turned 27 and I'm so happy for it, and I glorify God for it, and I'm so happy for it. I think I've said I'm so happy for it so many times. So yeah, in my 27th birthday, I just went for a run, and then I just came back and then relaxed, and then that was it. But one thing that I realized is that I have been walking in God's grace. I've been so much blessed. I've been so much happy in my life, although that I can identify some few times that I have been so much unhappy. But so far so good, and I'm looking forward to 100 more years to come. I've prepared another topic that I'm going to talk about today, and I was thinking about calling it or naming it how I am living in my answered prayers today. I don't know whether it's because I just turned an year older or what was happening when I was thinking about this topic, but I think that it's true that I'm living in my answered prayer era, and I think that it is so much. I'm so much happy. I'm so much fulfilled. I'm so much grateful. I'm so much blessed. I'm feeling so much happy, favored by God, and God's grace being so much abundant in my life. And I can't be able to explain it all, but I know Jesus has been there for me, and I know God's hands has made way for me for the many times that I have made mistakes on this earth, and all the time that I have been in this earth, and I'm so grateful for it. So let's talk about it, that we are currently living in our answered prayer era. I think that wherever we are, if I can go back to the when I was in campus, I think my biggest prayer was to get a job, just like any other campus graduate. And I think that when I first got my job in Kisumu, I was like, oh, this is a good stepping stone, because I finished my fourth year, and then I stayed there quite some few months, and then I was doing a job there, and then now I transferred to Nairobi. And within that time, I feel like I was so happy that I was doing something, something that I didn't go back home to, but I was just doing something somewhere. And currently right now, because I'm in a job that I really love, that I really like, that I'm looking forward to see myself in like the next 15 years to come, I'm feeling that that is something that I prayed for that time, which I didn't know when it was, whether it will come to fulfillment or not. But I feel like I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy that I got that prayer answered. I think another prayer that I prayed during those times in campus was that if I come to Nairobi, I would like, before I get to relationships or I get married, I would have loved to have lived by myself. And currently I'm living by myself in my own house that I'm struggling to furnish and everything else, but I feel like I love it just the way it is, simply because it's something that I was looking forward to when I didn't have any, or I didn't have it. And I'm so feeling blessed. I'm so happy. I'm so glad to be in it. Every day I come here and I'm like, this is something that I prayed for when I didn't know whether I'll be working in Nairobi or Mombasa or wherever else I'll be working it. I feel like when we talk about our answered prayers, we always had that image that we had imagined, and sometimes it doesn't come to as we had imagined, but it came to a fulfillment, or it came to pass. And sometimes, whether it came to pass or it did, or you just didn't get it, there was a reason for it. I think that that reason can either make us happy, can make us sad, can make us feel abandoned, can make us feel many chaotic feelings that happens in us, and also maybe jealousy and all that. But I feel like those steps that we had, that timeline that we got to experience, and that space that we were in, it taught us something. It made us reflect on something. And I know that even for me, I have learned to let go of some things. I feel like 2023, I had started my master's, and along the way I dropped it, and it made me cry. I even went for therapy because I was feeling like I was feeling like I've let myself down. Those are some of the things that I was looking forward to, but I didn't just get to finish them due to several reasons. And those every other time we get to have something we are praying for, something we are looking forward to, something we are happy to see or happy to get to hold, but sometimes we don't get it, or sometimes we get it. And above all that, I think we can say that many things will happen, and Jesus is at the center of it all. For me, being a Jesus girl, I feel like Jesus is always at the core of it all, at the mixture of it all, at the emotions of it all, and then at the timelines that we give ourselves. Like in 3 years, I want to have this and this. In 4 years, I want to have done this and this. In the core of it all, Jesus is always there. So for me, as I was reflecting on what I have come to achieve in those miles and timelines, and the emotions that I have got to experience along the way, the times that I have cried when I dropped out, the times I've been happy. Every time I look, I see that I'm living in my own house. Such things, they make me happy. But I got to reflect on what role that did Jesus or God play in my life. I believe that everything that I got, everything that I achieved, everything that I got to experience, Jesus was at the center of it all. I might not be able to explain to you how, or to tell you, he came through this and this, but I know God's favor is there. I know there is grace. I know I have faith. I know I work towards something, and whether I get it or not, I know that Jesus was there with me in the whole journey, or in the whole process of doing everything. And I will never say that, oh, I did this by myself, or I studied so hard, so that's why I got it, or I went to the best interview, or things like that. No, I believe that despite everything else, Jesus was there. So as I was reflecting, there is a common story that we always read in the Bible. Because for me, I know that Jesus will forever be there, and Jesus will forever, take care of so many things in this life. So there is the story of the blind man in John 9. When you read the whole chapter, it talks about Jesus healing a blind man who was blind from him being born to that age that he was in. And we see that the disciples of Jesus asked Jesus, and who sinned between the parent and the child that was born blind? And then we see the whole story where that blind man was healed. He was told to go and wash himself in the lake, and all those stories that happened in there. We see the Pharisee coming to question him about his healing. We see even the parents get questioned whether this is their son who is claiming that he has been healed by someone. And we see at the last chapters where Jesus is asking the blind man, do you believe this is the Son of Man who had healed him? And despite in that whole story, we get to see that Jesus played a key role in this man's life, even when he didn't even ask for it. He didn't ask for it because he was just seated there begging as usual. And you see that when he got healed, he didn't deny that he had been healed by the prophet, as he said when he was asked by the Pharisee. Those times, I think if you couldn't just say it was the Messiah, the next best name you used to use is the prophet. So that is what he answered, that I've been healed by this prophet. And we see even the Pharisee asking him, where is the man who has healed you? And he said he doesn't know where he is. But he continued to say that he has been healed by him constantly in the whole chapter. There's nowhere he said any other person had healed him. He knew that Jesus had healed him, or that man had healed him. And today we say that whenever we get something in our life, we say we either worked hard for it, we manifested, while all these matters, John 9 has helped us to ask a much more deeper question within ourselves. What do we do with the things that we could not have produced on our own? Because for him, he experienced healing, he experienced forgiveness, and he experienced receiving of Jesus Christ, and to experience Jesus Christ on a personal level. And we see that whenever we get to see the physical things in our life, like for me, whenever I get to come here in my house and afford to pay the rent, I feel maybe I worked hard, I go to work, so I have a salary at the end of the month, so I automatically pay the rent. So it doesn't, in all that, I don't think I can say that, oh, it is Jesus Christ who did this and this and this and this. I can't pinpoint that me paying rent is Jesus doing this and this, but I know how I paid the rent is I went to work. At the end of the month, I was paid, and then I paid the rent. But there are some other things that Jesus gets to do for us. I am healthy, I am protected. The timing that I'm in, that I'm 27 years old and I can afford to live at my place, where there are so many other people in my age who don't have a place to live, don't have, cannot afford what I can afford right now. I have access to so many things that I have access to freedom, I have access to going to work, I have access to being able to read, I have access to so many things. I'm mentally good, I'm healthy, I'm not unhealthy or stuff like that. I am feeling good, and I can be able to protect myself, or otherwise being protected by God. Some of these things, I don't know how they happen, because I can be walking just along the way and something hits me. It's not that I'm protecting myself so much, but I know that the hand of God is playing a key role in my day-to-day life. I know I came to realize that the grace of God is always sufficient. It's always there with us. It's not necessarily about hard work that I put into something. It is sometimes about the grace of God and His manifestation and His Spirit being in my life that I have been able to welcome in my life, if I can say that. We say that in the last places we see there is something Jesus talks about, the spiritual blindness, and when we look it up, we can see that spiritual blindness is when we are so much convinced that our systems work that we don't notice that God is moving outside of them. And when I was reflecting on that, I realized that we get to downplay the role of God in our life. We get to say that, I'm here because so many factors play a key role. Yes, there is, but one of the key factors that play a role in our life is the hand of God and the presence of Jesus Christ in our life. And when Jesus revealed himself to the blind man, he asked him, do you believe in the Son of Man? That is where we get to see that we never get to downplay the role that Jesus plays in our life. When Jesus healed the man, Jesus mixed mud and saliva and all that, and then he put it in his eyes, and then he asked him, go wash your face. That is a process. There was a process that happened before the man could get healed. It is his faith that he believed that when he was told to go wash his face, he went and washed his face, and indeed he received the healing of sight. Whereas for us, we tend to think that simply because I woke up early, I did my work, I did everything, I got this output. That is true, and that is that is very much okay with it. But there are some other things that Jesus, it's the only person who did it, and that is why when he came back after this man was being persecuted by the Pharisee, he asked the man that he had healed, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" Because that one is the one that is testing his spirituality, his need to know God, or his need to believe in the Son of Man, or Jesus Christ. At that point, we get to see that when he said he believed in, he went around testifying of what Jesus had done. Even when the Pharisee asked him the first time, he said a man had healed him. He did not say anything else. And this man was the man of God. Was the man of God. And despite everything else we might be experiencing in our lives, sometimes, even though it's the bad thing, it can be a rescue of something. And sometimes if it's also not a fulfillment or coming to fulfillment of something, it's about timing. It's about your faithfulness. It's about your discipline to God. It's about your how you carry yourself when you are talking about Jesus Christ to the world. It's your purpose, it's your calling, it's season that you are in. It's a lot of things that get to happen so that you may get to experience what the blind man experienced. And we see that we sometimes operate like the Pharisee. We know he is there, but we just tend to think it's because we are following the normalcy of or the things how they're supposed to be, but we lack to see the details or the glimpse that Jesus has left behind, that indeed this is Jesus Christ that have done that. So as we are living in our answered prayers, I would like us to maybe question whether we are seeing that it's the hard work that we have done, or maybe it's whether we still recognize God when he moves without our permission. Do we recognize that God has moved things around without necessarily asking us? He's always there somewhere in front of us, making way for us. And if we ever come to a place where we are all acknowledging our hard work and we do not acknowledge the deeds of God or the presence of Jesus Christ in our life, maybe we are missing the point or the purpose that we were created to worship him, we were created to adore him, we were created to obey him. And that is the main goal that we are given here. Everything that happens in your life, it's for the glorification of God. It's grace, it's favor, it's love that Jesus loved us with. It's our obedience to him that God sometimes comes to us. Because we do not necessarily have to say that I am here because it was not my choice or anything else. I'm here because God had a purpose on my life, and everything that happens in my life, it's an answered prayer that you once prayed for in some time back. So I'd like us to leave us all, or to come to an end of this episode by saying that I believe some of us are living in answered prayers, but we have renamed them to hard work. I mean, and the specific reason I consistently use the word hard work is because these days we believe that when I work hard for this and this, I get this and this. There is always a reward. And this reward, it's okay, because you cannot live this world without doing something. Don't stay so idle and then you say God is going to help us. No, you need to take action. You need to do this and this and this in obedience and in accordance to his will. That is so we don't have to depend on God anymore. But I believe that as there is hard work, God has played a key role in everything that we have come to achieve in our life. So I'm so happy that everybody is living in their answered prayers. Sometimes you might not remember it, but it is an answered prayer that you're living in right now. And let's continue acknowledging God and Jesus Christ in our life each and every day. That is always Jesus this and Jesus that in our story. It is never that Jesus was not there. It is always Jesus this and Jesus that in our story. And may we live to give that story that Jesus did this and this and this in our life. Jesus did this and this and that and that and that and that in our life. And so that we may live to glorify him. We may live to love him more as he has loved us more. And and his grace is always sufficient. That is always one thing that I always remind myself. The grace of God is always sufficient, and may we always pray that he may always be there for us at every time, at every season, as we always look for him. Go play, spend time with him, journal, read the Bible, do everything that you need to do to be able to to fellowship with him and know him more. And you will come to realize that in everything that you did, Jesus was indeed there. So this is the end of this episode. I hope you are we take time to bring in God in our life. We take time to thank him, we take time to acknowledge him and to honor him in all our life. So bye, and see you in our next episode.